نجده لقادر يوم تبلى السرائر فما له من قوة ولا ناصر والسماء ذات الرجع والأرض ذات الصدع إنه لقول فصل وما هو بالحزن إنهم يكيدون كيدا وأكيد كيدا فمهل الكافرين أمهلهم رويدا صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
said another salawat to the Shah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now request by the Nation to say the Ikman.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما
اللهم صل على محمد wa ali Muhammad.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحت كل اسم اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقم اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تقطع الرجاء اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسك وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك وأن توزعني شكرك وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع أن تصانهني وترحمني وتجعلني بحسنك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته فأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته فعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا ولا لقبائه ساترا ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك. ظلمت نفسي ظلمت نفسي ظلمت نفسي فتجرعت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترته وكم من فاده من البلاء قلته وكم من إثار وقعته وكم من مكروه دفعته وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته. اللهم أعظم بلائي وأفرط بي سوء حالي وكسرت بي أعمالي وقعدت بي أغلالي وحبسني عن نفعي بعد آمالي وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بخيانتها ومثالي. يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك ألا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما أمنته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي وربي من لي غيرك أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي فغرني بما أهوى وأسعده على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدوده وخالفت بعد أوامره فلك الحمد فلك الحجة علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاء وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي مؤتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا مؤترفا لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة من رحمتك اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شد وثاقي يا رب ارحم ضعفاء بدني يا رب ارحم ضعفاء بدني يا رب ارحم ضعفاء بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي يا من بدأ خلقي والذكر والتربية والبر والتغذية قبل الابتداء كرمك والصالح برك بي يا إلهي وسيدي وربي أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك وبعد من طوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لساني من ذكرك فأعتقده ضميري من حبك وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيته وتبعد من أدنيته وتشرد من آويته وتسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته ولا تشئري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدا وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقا وبشكرك مادحا وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققا وعلى دماء رهبت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة وعلى جوارها سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طائعة وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنا ما هكذا الظن بك ولا أخبرنا بفضلك أنت يا كريم يا ربي وأنت تعلم ضعفي أن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكفوه يسير بقاؤه قصير مدته فكيف احتمال لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض يا سيدي فكيف بي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي لأي الأمور إليك أشكو ولما منها أبج وأبكي لأليم العذاب وشدته قبل طول البلاء ومدته فلئن صيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائي وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك وهبني صبرت على هل نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك كيف أسكن في النار برجائي عفوك فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأدجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج الآمنين ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين يا غاية آمال العارفين يا غياث المستغيثين يا غياث المستغيثين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين ويا إله العالمين فتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفتي وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيتي وحبس بين طباقها بجرمه وجريرته هو يضج إليك ضجيج مؤمل لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك يا مولاي فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمه أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يعمل فضلك ورحمتك أم كيف يهركه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانها أم كيف يشتمل عليه ظفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفها أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقها أم كيف تزجره ذبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رب أم كيف يرجو فضلك في إتقه منها فتتركه فيها هيها ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاهدي وقضيت به من إخلاد معاندي ولجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين وأنت جل ثناؤك قلت مبتدعا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون إلهي وسيدي فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي هتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررته وكل جهل عملته كتمته وأعلنته أخفيته وأظهرته وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم وبرحمتك أخفيته وبفضلك سترته وأن توفر حظي من كل خير تنزل أو إحسان تفضل أو بر تنشر أو رزق تبسط أو ذنب تغفر أو خطأ تستر يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك ربي يا من بيده ناصيتي يا عليما بدر ومسكنتي يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب أسألك بحقك وقدسك وعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي في الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورة وبخدمتك موصولة وأعمالي عندك مقبولة حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي يا من إليه شقوت وحوالي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب قوي على خدمتك جوارحي واشدد على العزيمة جوانه وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك حتى أسرع إليك في ميادين السابقين وأسرع إليك في المبادرين واشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين وأخافك مخافة الموقنين وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرد ومن قادني فكد واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك وأقربهم منزلة من وأخصهم زلفة لديك فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك وجد لي بجودك وعطف علي بمجدك واحفظني برحمتك واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا وقلبي بحبك متيما ومن علي بحسن إجابتك وأقلني أثرتي واغفر زلتي فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك وأمرتهم بدعائك وضمنت لهم الإجابة وإليك يا رب نسبت وجهي وإليك يا رب مددت يدي فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي وبلغني مناي ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء فإنك فعال لما تشاء يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وطاعته غنى ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء وسلاحه البكاء يا سابغ النعم يا دافع النقم يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بما أنت أهله وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا
اللهم صل على محمد
محمد وآل محمد صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد آل محمد عجل.
He's doing the face.
Please recite lots of one. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Couple of quick announcements. There will be no outdoor jashan on 3/19. The 15th Shaban jashan will be combined with the regular Thursday program on 3/17. It will start at 7 p.m. Please also remember that daylight savings starts this Sunday and the program timings will be adjusted accordingly. Please recite Surah Fatiha for sponsor of today's program and for the Mahromin on the Monument of Zahra and for your Mahromin and for those for there is no. Names of the sponsor of Mahromin as Zahir Hussain, Amna Rizvi, Dar Haidar, Lokris Fatma, Fahim Haidar. I would request Sayyid Hadi Yassin to recite speech. We will have a short speech and then we will have the Quran quiz completion here.
When you share it with them,
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا حبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآله
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين ومن آمن على لقاء يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq and opportunity, inshallah, to have a beneficial discussion today. Once again, congratulations to all of you guys in this auspicious days and nights, the time of the Biladat of our beloved Imams, Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam.
اللهم صل على محمد وآله
Fadl Abbas and Imam Sajjad Zainul Abidin.
اللهم صل على محمد وآله.
May Allah inshallah make this time Mubarak to all of you guys. And inshallah let us be among the best of the worshippers, inshallah. And forgive us and our sins and purify us, inshallah. As you know, alhamdulillah, we are covering the topic of history of Islam. And we, alhamdulillah, had a great progress. This session is our 25th session that we were talking, alhamdulillah. A little bit more, so we will, inshallah, be towards the end of the history of, the first part of the history, which is pre-Islamic era, all the way to the end of the life of our Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in this time together, in these sessions we had together, we went through the journey of history of Islam from the beginning all the way, what happened to Islam, how much time and effort and energy, how much Muslims, Rasulullah all, suffered in terms of, establishing Islam, putting it together, different difficulties, how many great personalities were killed and tortured in this path in order today, me and you, we have Islam, we have this Salah, we have this Quran in front of us. We went through this back and forth history, how many times the enemy plotted, betrayed Muslims, how many of the Muslims were away from their cities, from their families. What happened that today we have Islam is very easily and securely we're sitting together, alhamdulillah, we're practicing Islam. What happened to this Islam? That means when we understand the responsibility that we have as Muslims. In each era, that time, the first of Hijri, Muslims' responsibility were to establish Islam and follow Rasulullah throughout the go back and forth in front of Ahlul Bayt. And in this time, the 21st of Hijri, the 21st century, and 1433, 43 years after Hijrah, our responsibility is what? Is to keep this Islam intact and be able, inshallah, practice and give it to the next generation, inshallah. This section of the history that we're going to review together, inshallah, it's a very historical, interesting, exciting, and full of reports that we're going to inshallah talk about it. You can see the title, The Battle of Khaybar. We usually have the TV behind me, but because we have the decoration, so now we go to that one, inshallah. So the Battle of Khaybar, as you know, is kind of very sentimental for Shia, and we know a lot about it. It's very important to understand. And we mentioned that before this, we had the Peace of Hudaybiyah, the Sulh of Hudaybiyah, between Muslims and Quraysh, with the peace, the pact that said for 10 years they're not going to attack Muslims, and the Muslims were in peace kind of in these years. God is stronger. Rasulullah sent letters to the kings of Persia, Rome, Egypt, different places, invited them to Islam. So around maybe 20 days or 1 month after Hudaybiyah, when Rasulullah came back, from that, which were the intention to go to Hajj of that year. So Rasulullah ordered the Muslims to get ready for, we're going to go somewhere. We're going to go somewhere. We'll talk about it, why. So Khaybar is in the north of Medina, and the Jews of it belongs to the Jews at that area. They created 7 strong forts, the Jews of that, to defend themselves against any enemies. And each of these forts, they had, the towers, surveillance towers, and we'll talk about it, how strategically it was very, very strong, area that they created for themselves. The Jews of Khaybar were those people who, promote and talk to Quraysh to attack to create the battle of Ahzab or Khandaq. Remember, we talked about it, the battle of Ahzab and Khandaq, the trench. So they were among those who financially were providing money for others, for the disbelievers to go against Muslims. So they were always potential danger, potential enemy. It's not safe for Islam, for Muslims who created now established a region, an area, a government for themselves, and they're strong through a lot of enemies. It's not wise and safe to let the enemies be somewhere always plotting against Muslims and potentially put together another war, another battle of Ahzab, for example, right? So that's why Rasulullah, he had the intention to take care of this potential danger, because he should have time to spread Islam. It's not about war. It's not about even defending themselves. If they were not attacking Muslims, they didn't have to attack, or they didn't have to defend themselves, right? Muslims and Islam, the only intention of Rasulullah was to spread out the message of Islam and Quran and invite people to Islam, right? But because they were attacking, it's not wise to sit down, because anyhow. So they were, that danger for Muslims. That's why Rasulullah wanted to take care of this and, go and make sure that totally take care of this potential danger that was there. Yeah, we mentioned this as well. So the other problem that we had with the Jews of Khaybar is that there was always, remember, Rasulullah sent a letter to the Caesar of Rome, to the king of Persia, to Egypt, to 7 countries, right? Majority accepted, some they didn't accept, some such as the Persia. Khosrow Parviz was very angry before, part the letter of Rasulullah. They could always instigate this powers, Persia, empire, Rome, always could instigate them to attack and destroy Muslims and Muslims, right? So that's why there was another issue here. Specifically, since Rasulullah sent the letters to them, they heard about Muslims. So Rasulullah should take care of this as well, so they wouldn't cause problem later. And it was the best time to remove this danger from the history of Islam. Why? Because we said that in the Peace of Hudaybiyah, for 10 years, Quraysh were not supposed to do anything. So they were calm, and they knew that they were sure from south, which is Mecca, from Quraysh, no threat is coming. From any tribes connected to Quraysh, there's no threat is coming. So let's take care of other enemies, right? Because they're different enemies of Islam. One are Quraysh, the biggest one, Quraysh and Abu Sufyan. The other tribes as well, right? Qatfan and other tribes. One of them were the Jews. Remember, 3 tribes in Medina. We talk about it. 3 tribes of Jews were in Medina. Rasulullah took care of them. They betrayed, to be honest, because they were under protection of Islam. They betrayed Rasulullah in different wars. They took care of them. The only thing was left was Khaybar. It was the best time to take care of it. So Rasulullah said, okay, we're going to go somewhere. He had this strategy, Rasulullah, not to reveal his intention for strategic reasons. It was a tactic that Rasulullah had, because if he was revealing where they're going, the spies were there definitely. Khaybars would hear that, oh, they're coming towards them. They could call their allies to come and protect them and help them. It will be more difficult. So Rasulullah didn't tell them until they got to the area, to the fork, that it was clear that he's going towards the Khaybar. And then from there, the Muslims realized that where they're going, right? This is the strategy that Rasulullah had as well. And Rasulullah, he put somewhere as to take care of Medina on behalf of himself. Behalf of himself, he put someone by the name of Ghayla Laythi to be in charge of his successor in Medina. I purposely say these things, right? He's not living Medina even for a few days, for 1 month, without having someone take his position and be the successor for himself in Medina. If something happened, he is still in charge, right? But all others, we can say, all others went to Khaybar with Rasulullah. All the big names and everyone that you know, they were in Khaybar, right? It's important to know historically what happened in that. So no one says, oh, we were not there, we didn't realize what happened, and so on and so forth. Most, again, 90% of what we're saying are from Tariq, Yaqubi, Tabari, and so and so. 99% are all, all Sunnis, history, books of history. So what happened is that, okay, so all of a sudden they went there and they, besieged the force, the 7th force they had with 1,600 soldiers, Muslims, 1,600 soldiers. How many were in Khaybar? 20,000 residents of Khaybar and 2,000 soldiers they had. Okay, more in terms of the number, more soldiers they had. But the problem was that this force that they created, on some of them on the hills, they had great potential strategy to attack any enemies that come, because they were above, and the force were the way that they could use catapults or anything to defend themselves. Whoever were getting closer to them, they could defend themselves from the tall walls that they had. So it was very, very difficult to attack this force. Very difficult. So the first thing that Rasulullah did and Muslims did was to control all the roads and the path towards the forts. The first thing that they did. So no allies could come potentially to support the Jews of Khaybar, right? The first thing they did. And very quietly, look at the strategy. Very quietly, that towards the afternoon, at night, they besieged everywhere. In the morning, when the shepherds and everybody were coming out to go to do whatever they want to do, all of a sudden they realized, oh, they are besieged and Muslims are around. They ran away inside the forts, closed the doors. They created the war council. Let's talk about it. They didn't even realize that they were besieged by Muslims at that time. Because when they had this strategy and they had this strong force, it's not easy to just attack them. It's not in a wide, it's not like Khandaq, it's not like Uhud, that is an open area that they can fight against, right? They have to come with a strategy to approach them. Anyhow, the other problem Muslim had were that in the forts, they had enough food for a long time. No problem. The grains, the food, everything they had inside. And that's why they created this fortress the way that if someone attacks them, they can defend themselves inside, close the doors, or get close to them, they can kill them. Maybe around 20 of the great commanders of Islam became shaheed in that the war of Khaybar, right? 20. When we talk about it, it was very tough and difficult for them to take care of it. So it was so difficult that it took the whole month for Muslims. Remember, it's very difficult for an army when it's traveling to another area, because what? They're always the issue of it's not their area, food, water, scenario, situation there, the weather. Remember what happened to Ahzab we talked about. One of the reasons that they got defeated, the enemies of Islam, because it was not their area. They came from Mecca, they came from other areas, they ran after food, the weather was not good. So that was something against Muslims at that time, right? sometimes 7 different forts and fortresses they had. Each of these areas, each of these castles or forts, they had different names, right? So Muslim, they had to go one by one, take care of each of them, right? Sometimes it was taking more than 10 days to get one of these forts, more than 10 days. It was very tough. And we talk about it, how the structure of the forts worked. When they were getting one, forts, they were trying to cut because they were from inside connected to each other. They would take care of it. The first thing that they did, the Jews of Khaybar, they said, we're going to put all the children and women in one fort, all the food on another one, and the soldiers going to defend all the forts, right? So they were comfortable that women and children are somewhere, the foods are somewhere, and the foods were very important, right? They were protecting it very, very strongly not to let that go because that was important for them. And they were protected from inside, but when Muslims were getting one, inside, I mean from the ground, under the ground, they're all connected to each other. They're trying to cut the path, cut the connection so they cannot come back again. So that was another thing that they were doing. Just for the first fort, to see how difficult it was. One of the best commanders of Islam were Shaheed and 50 injured in one. Remember, it's not the open war. It's just they're defending themselves, right? And they're attacking. They're going forward, big walls, big doors, the doors of Khaybar, right? The gates of Khaybar, right? The force of Khaybar. And if they were getting, like the commander of, in the first one, the commander of Muslim Islam, that they got Shaheed because they throw a big rock from the top of the catapult or something, on the top of the fort, and it hit the commander, and he, after 3 days, he became Shaheed, right? It was the issue. So 50 injuries happened. It was very, very difficult. And it happens that, of course, we said it's not the area of Muslim and Islam, so they ran out of the food. We said 1 month, it took 1 month, right? They ran out of food. And it's a biggest issue at that time for an army, 1,600 soldiers, all men, right? All army men, how much they eat. If you remember in one of the wars, we said Rasulullah counted 1 camel for 10 men, right? Something like that. So they ran out of food. They started eating some makruh animals. Can do. What are the makruh animals? One more. Donkey. But they have to. There's nothing else to eat, right? But to tell you that many of the enemies of Islam up until today, some of the historians are saying that Islam is not ethical, it's all about the violence, about so on and so forth. All of a sudden, one of the shepherds of the Khaybar, every day they were coming and going. One of them came to Rasulullah and said, tell me, what is Islam? Talk to me about Islam. Rasulullah he told him about Islam and anything. This is Islam, and he liked it, he accepted, and he became Muslim in the same measure, same time. So when he became Muslim, he asked Rasulullah a very important question. And I want you to answer this. He said, now that I'm Muslim, these animals, this flock of ships, don't belong to me. It's for the other people, right? I'm just a shepherd. So now that I'm Muslim, and my connection with them is disconnected, I don't want to go back, right? What should I do with these animals? And remember, Muslims are what? Hungry. They don't have food. It's a price in front. And he asked Rasulullah, what am I supposed to do? What do you think Rasulullah answered? By the way, it's the war. It's not in a normal scenarios and situations. What do you think was the answer of Rasulullah?
Ask him to go back.
Well, it's a war. And finally, even if they conquer all the forts, it's going to be for Muslims. It's the ghanimat of the war, right? It's the spoil of the war. All the animals, the trees, the foods, and the forts, everything. So why Rasulullah said go? How many says Rasulullah said go back? And how many says no? For us, and it's for enemies. How many says Rasulullah says keep the animals, keep the sheep? Raise your hand. How many says he said go back?
Go back.
Why?
The war agreement, that was the agreement they had.
There's no agreement. There's no agreement. Go ahead. Say it again. He didn't win yet. What do you mean?
Because they haven't won the war yet, so the rules of war is going to fight after the war.
The rules of war is not that. No, the rules of war at that time is like take whatever it comes. It's you should let them be suffer from like what did they do in Karbala? What was the rule of war in Karbala that they banned the water 3 days against, right? They don't go with any rules of that, right? So what was, yes, Rasulullah said that. He said, and that's historical, that he said that it's haram. Do not betray the trust of owners, no matter who they are. It's one of the worst sins in Islam. Muslims are hungry in front of 1,600 hungry, army men. Rasulullah says, let it go. No, go back and give it to them. It shows no matter what it is, how big is your hadaf and your goal, you should not take that. We talk about it, remember, you should not take the wrong path in order to reach that right goal. They were fighting for the sake of this. They were fighting for the sake of these rules and policies and ethical teachings of Islam, right? That was the reason. Somewhere in the war, Safin came to Amir al-Mu'minin, Imam Ali, salatu wassalam. In the middle of the war, he started asking questions. The Ashab of Amir said, oh brother, this is not much, dars and bahs and ish. This is the war. You're coming asking aqidatic question, the belief question? Come on, inshallah later, brother, go. And this is no. We're fighting for the sake of these questions. This is our aqidah. Our fight is our aqidah. That's why we're doing it. Why you're saying? Imam Hussein in Karbala, in the middle of the Zuhr, in the middle of the war, he says, stop, salah. Even they were attacking to killing them, stop. Why? Because we're fighting for this salah. Then imagine me and you talking, me and you having a majlis, me and you, we have some, and then the azan comes, and me and you are sitting. I thought we have a majlis for this salah. We had a majlis for Ahlul Bayt who talked about this salah. Then what's the point of having a majlis not having the salah on time, right? So everyone says, we are fighting for this. Why we have to? And Rasul says, go back. Look. Even more important than this, every day, the shepherds were coming out of the hordes, taking the animals wherever they had to go for food and everything, coming back after them. And none of the Muslims were doing anything. Except 1 or 2 times that they were really like, there's terror and they were dying out of food. They had to take 1 or 2 of the animals from take from them because it was just like they couldn't do it. But they were going in back and forth. Right? This is Islam. They don't have to if they didn't cause problems. Anyhow, they took each fort one after another. So tell me when is the time is over, because I know I have to make it short, but it's getting to a very exciting point that we all like it. So how much more time do we have? 20 more minutes? I said like this. It can be 20, it can be 200 minutes.
No, it's 1.
It's 1. All right. So, inshallah. So, again, we're going to go to very important, more important than this, which is Quran, of course, I will finish with this slide. Muslims took each of the hordes one by one, right? And they got to the last ones. One of the worst and most difficult ones were the different names, Watih, Salalim, or Sulalim, which of them different names, right? It was very tough to do this and to take care of this. After this, they did it. The last fort, which the Khaybar is Khaybar for all of us, was the name of Ghamus or Marhab. Marhab is the name of one of the best warrior of Arab, the Jewish guy. Very famous. Was in all the wars. It was his own force. 10 days it took for Muslim back and forth. Anyone were going, coming back, anyone, they couldn't do it. 10 days. It's a lot. 1,600 soldiers. For 10 days, they can't even, they took all the forts, 6 forts, 1 is left. 1 is left, they can't. They sent different troops different divisions, different groups to go. Each of them were coming back defeated without any result. We have it in the history of Tariq Yahudi, Muslim, Bukhari. This is all from the Ahlul Sunnah as well. The first Khalifa was the first one Rasulullah gave the flag, Abu Bakr. The first one, get the flag, the white flag, go towards it, conquer the fort, come back. They went, they ran away from it. It's not easy. They ran away. The second one, again, from the history. History is inshallah, should be unbiased, right? So the second Khalifa, the second day, the second Khalifa went down there to get, came back, defeated, and ran away. They couldn't. And they were coming, they were talking, oh my God, how difficult it was. Oh my God, madhab is so strong. So it says, stop like that. Literally. It says, oh, come on, you guys. History, right? So they didn't get any result. It's very bad. It's not good for Muslims that, hey, you can't even take one fort, right? You won the Khaybar, the Uhud, and Khandaq, and so on and so forth. Now you can't do anything here. That was very. So Rasulullah said a historical statement that I'll stop here, inshallah. You know, when the episode comes to the very interesting part, the process is next week, inshallah. So we do this as well. Rasulullah said he's a very, very historical and amazing statement. Rasulullah said that. And I'll finish with this. He said, لا أعطين الراية غدا رجلا يحب الله ورسوله ويحبه الله ورسوله. Tomorrow I will give the flag to the one who loves Allah and His Rasul, and Allah and His Rasul love him too. Allah will open this fort with His hand, and He is the one who never put his back at enemies and never run away from the battle. And you tell me why Rasulullah add the last section of this. He will never run away. He didn't have to, because the issue happened before. It's like, hey, this one is different, right? And they're saying that Muslims with that night couldn't sleep, because each of them, they were waiting. Who is that commander that Allah and Rasul loves? He loves the Rasul, and no one could do it. All Muslims are there, not just 2, 3, 4 people. All Muslims are all commander. All the big names you have as some, they are there, they can't do it. It's not easy, it's not a joke, right? All those big names are there. None of them could do it, right? And so it says, at that night, it was a very tough night, because the next day they wanted to see who has this honor. I will do that, inshallah, next week, inshallah. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج والعافية والناس ومد في عمره الشريف وزين الأرض بطول بقائه وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره وشيعته يا رحمن الرحيم ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. I recommend inshallah next to be here. It's an exciting part. There are a lot of details that you never heard probably in what happened in this. So sometimes we hear overall the stories, but we don't know that there's the details. Sometimes superstitions are part of it, right? So we're talking very academically about this. So inshallah, it's very exciting and interesting part that we'll talk about it. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, let all of us be among the true muhibbeen and Shia of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Do not let anyone from our generation be against God, Islam, Quran, and Ahlul Bayt. Those who are hajjat with khair hajjat, those who are sick, heal them. Those who passed away, send the tabab and the vote from our gathering to the soul. Rahimallah man yaqra'u al-Fatiha ma as-salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
Yes. Say it, can you use that?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So, as announced tonight. Actually, we had a quiz on Surah Al, inshallah. And so the link, so although we have this hybrid program played, actually, we have, mashallah, some brothers and sisters at ICZ, and some have registered, so they will be participating in the program through their remote logins. So email has been sent out, so please, register through your Zoom link into the program, inshallah. So we give you 5 minutes for this preparation, and then we, inshallah, start this quiz. So also I would like to recite Surah Fatiha for the sponsors for tonight. And they are basically Zahir Hussain, Amina Rizvi, Yaqtadar Haider, Bilqis Fatima, and Fahim Haider. Also, please include your Marumin and also the Marumin, written on the names of Muhammad Zahra in your plate, inshallah. So, brother, did you see others are logging there? Or
If you have logged in, yes.
logged in, so please, and so you have given your contact information in the email, right? So
My email, yeah, they have my email, so they can email me.
they can email you, right? So in case if you have any questions, please feel free to email brother.
They can just do it on Zoom also.
Yeah, but you can do the Zoom virtual, yeah. So brothers, basically this program, is being conducted at ICZ for almost, I would say, more than 2 years now, or 2-3 years now, under the supervision and guidance of Muhammad Sayyid Hadi Yassin. And the goal of this program is basically to promote Quranic ideology in our community and develop understanding. And so we take approach according to Quranic laws, inshallah. So the questions are basically tailored in a way that we try basically here to communicate the message through these ayats basically. So it's an opportunity for all of us basically to educate ourselves, inshallah. Maulana is also here at ICZ at the moment, so he will also explain the concepts as needed, inshallah. Oh, the link is in the image, so you need to type in basically. Yeah. So tonight's quiz is about Surah Al. We have it's in this quiz total 24 questions, and different questions have different rating points, and it is being conducted through Kahoot program.
Yeah, from here, so you can see the.
You want me to get there?
So you can see.
Yeah.
Do you want?
Yes, good. So, brothers and sisters, so the Kahoot ID for tonight's program is 2817986. It's 2817986. So you can get, yes, go ahead.
No, sorry, it's set it up.
The brothers and sisters, so this program is not disciplining test for knowledge. It is disciplining to learn through this program. All of which is in the eyes of Allah that we are trying to learn. So what did you have done? 22?
No, there are a lot of people.
Oh, okay.
I'll cancel this one and we'll open it.
So can you announce your plans in this one?
Anyway, okay, so brothers and sisters, so basically, for some reason, we are not able to make this. So we're not able to make this ID, so we are creating a new ID for this program, and we are going to give you shortly. So brothers and sisters, the new ID is 4220602. 4220602. Please use this login to register the program. It's 4220602.
For those that are on site, they can also go to the same Kahoot site and register. No,
Everyone.
yeah, for people, because I don't see.
All participants here should log in through this ID. So, brothers and sisters, actually, I was told that previously the mic was not working. Not sure that if you were able to hear what we were trying to communicate to you guys. So basically, you are almost, ready to start this program now. And the ID for Kahoot for tonight's program is 4220602. And so Zoom has been sent out, link, so you can log into that. And if you have any questions, you can ask Brother, or you can send email to Brother Taha Abdi, actually. Taha Abdi. So tonight, which is about Surah Ra'd, and I'm not sure that if you had heard our conversation before, but the program is just, it's an educational program, and it provides opportunity to all of us, to learn Quran, and it's been, been conducted under guidance and supervision of Maulana Hadi Yasin. So I guess now we can see now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 14 participants. So Brother Taha, so all the registered are there now?
Yes.
So then we can start now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's start the quiz now. So, Brother Muhammad, let's go then. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This quiz is about Surah Ra'd. So we have 24 questions. So question number 1, in the first one, what is the reason of most of the people not believing in Islam? Read the Quranic verses do not explain the truth. The Quranic verses are too complicated to understand, not surrendering to Hadi and Imam, and the truth and false revealed by God have been mixed. So the correct answer to this question is not surrendering to Hadi and Imam. So that was the right answer to this question. So, Maulana, you can let me know whenever you want to chime in, so you can then take control.
I can take the time that they took me from the streets.
That's good. Next question, please.
Just to mention something, if you answer it quicker, you'll get more points.
Yeah, so for sure, it is a test of accuracy as well as speed. So if you know and you're sure you know the correct answer, so do not hesitate to answer the question, because it is the test of speed and accuracy together. The next question, please. So what has Imam Rida alayhi salam explained about the Ghadir Ramadin Tarawnaha in the verse number 2? Red, the sky stands without pillars. Blue, the sky stands with pillars which are non-visible. Yellow, the sky stands with visible pillars. The sky is like onion peels.
Brother Shabir, we can repeat the answer one more time because they cannot read it from. Can we repeat?
Okay.
No. The answers, like for the next one, like.
Okay.
Please stand in the sisters, can you please try to see it?
So the correct answer to this question is the sky stands with pillars which are non-visible. So that is the correct answer to this question. The sky stands with pillars which are non-visible. Next question, number 3. What number does this surah fall under? Red 10th, blue 13th, yellow 22nd, green 56th. So the correct answer is 13th. So next question. So you can open Quran if you want for this. So you can read the translation or the verses as well, because we cannot capture the verses here. So next question, what is the translation of the words in the verse number 4? Red, right branches of the tree, blue, different branches sprouting from from the origin stem, yellow, fruit branches, green, small branches. The correct answer is different branches sprouting from the original stem. So this quiz is more about the concept. So most of the questions will be about the concept, but we only kept a couple of questions about the translation as well, so that we also pay attention to the Quranic words as well. So that this program you can benefit from the translation perspective, but mostly from the concept perspective. So the most of the questions will be about the concepts here now. So next question, please. Fifth question has double points. According to the verse 5, what would the believers wonder about? Option 1, chains in the necks of the disbelievers. Blue, denial of Lord by disbelievers. Yellow, man resurrection after being soiled. Green, all above are correct. So the correct answer to this question is man resurrection after being soiled. Again. So question number 6, double points. What message do we get from verse 6 about two different attributes of God? Red, Lord's intense punishment is not hindrance to his great mercy. Blue, the Lord's great mercy is not hindrance to his intense punishment. Yellow, the mention of forgiveness and punishment puts man in a state of fear and hope. And green is all above are correct. So you can read to verse number 6, and then you can see. So basically all these things are correct about God, So Lord's intense punishment, is not hindrance to his great mercy. His great mercy is not hindrance to his intense punishment. And his forgiveness and the punishment basically helps us to keep in the state of fear and hope. So all are correct, basically.
So very quick point here. You see that there are two different, attributes. On one side it says maghfirah, right? Very forgiving, and the other says shadid al-iqab. It's when it comes to punishing the transgressors and the walidain, he's very strongly against them, and the adab is very strong. Okay, so that shows from two different perspectives that the same God that is Rahman Rahim is Jabbar as well. He's taking care of the enemies as well. So, and he is the judge
He's the judge himself. He's the eyewitness judge. And the one who see everything himself with his eyes, the one who is the wisest, the most knowledgeable, right? And nothing, based on this too, nothing goes wrong here in terms of the idalah and the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When it comes to mu'mineen and the believers, he's the kindest. When it comes to enemies, he becomes the worst enemy of the enemies, right? So, because sometimes you might have a leader or someone, he's so soft, so kind, so nice, he might be oppression against the zulm. Sometimes you might be very rough and tough leader, or the creator, for example, doesn't have mercy. But it shows these two different attributes, shows the idalat and the justice of Allah. Go ahead.
So question 7, according to the commentary of verse 7, who is made by Munzir and Hadi? So red, both means the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Option 2, Munzir means Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Hadi means Imam Ali alayhi salam. Yellow, both means Imam Ali alayhi salam. And green, Munzir means Imam Ali alayhi salam and Hadi means Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Munzir means warner, and Hadi means guide.
So the correct answer is Munzir means the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Hadi means Imam Ali alayhi salam, according to the interpretations of this ayah. Next question, please. Question number 8, double points. What does Ghalibul Ghaibi wa Shahada mean in the verse number 9? Red, God knows everything hidden and manifest. Blue, the unseen and seen are equal to God. Yellow, seen and unseen is in the relation to man, not God. Green, all above are correct.
So while they're answering, so there's a huge discussion among the scholars about ilm al-ghaib, unseen. Some sections of the Sunnah believe that only Allah knows ilm al-ghaib, unseen. No one else has the ilm al-ghaib. You know ilm al-ghaib, it only belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he unseen and seen things, right? And they bring it from Quran. However, in Quran, the true story and the answer is that in Quran we have multiple ayat that talks about ilm al-ghaib. Some of the ayat says only and only Allah has the ilm al-ghaib. Some of the ayat says Allah and angels, and those who Allah give them the permission, right? So therefore, from those ayat, we realize that those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them permission and He wants them to know certain things will have ilm al-ghaib, such as Anbiya and Ahlul Bayt.
So, as Maulana said, so basically all above are correct. So, yeah. So, next question, please. Question number 9 is double points. In the context of verse 9, God knows everything. What are the effects of this faith on our lives? Red, man becomes afraid. Blue, man becomes coward. Yellow, man would be ashamed to disobey him. Green, all above are correct. So the correct answer is man would be ashamed to disobey him. Next question, please. 10th. What does God know about the fetus in the womb of mother in the light of verse number 8? boy and girl red, personality and all abilities blue, and good or bad yellow, all of the above green.
The leaders in the room, it's one of the mu'jizat of Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks in details about different sections and time of the khilqat of insan, the womb of the mother. So inshallah, we're going to have maybe later a workshop to tell you how scientifically at that time, there's no devices, no technology to check, ultrasound to see how is the status of the baby. But Quran is exactly the point that in each month and each time, what is the status and the shape and the type of the fetus, that is one of the more result of Quran, scientific one.
So all of the above, so God knows everything actually. So all of them are correct here. Next question, please. Question 11, double points. Protectors mentioned in the verse 11 are referred to red protectors hired by men on normal wages, blue special protectors hired by men on very high wages, yellow the unseen protectors that God has appointed with every human being, green all of the above. So basically the correct answer is the unseen protectors that God has appointed with every human being. So these are the angels basically, Allah has, is always, protecting us from all different dangers, especially infants in rural areas and jungles, or even us, traveling, commuting. So they're always there for us to protect us. So next question, please. The meaning of Rad is red, true, blue, false, red. So the correct answer is false. The meanings of Rad is thunder. So the correct meaning of the Rad is thunder. So next question, please. Question number 13, double points. What is the root cause for the failures of nations in the light of verse number 11? Red, the authoritarian group in the nation, conspiracy of colonial powers. Blue, external factors which lead to the decline of nations. Yellow, not to try to change bad conditions by themselves. Green.
Say it. So the correct answer is not to try to change bad conditions by themselves. So I can see most of the participants have a correct answer here. So mashallah, that's great. So we need to do ourselves, to change it, then we should count on Allah. Next, please. .14th double point. So in the verse 14, the phrase, so kabas, kaba, so it is kabasati kafehi.
kafir, then the ayat is long, refers to madness and naivety of the polytheist, hard work and effort of the polytheist, absurd and futile effort of the polytheist, red and yellow both. See, the correct answer is red and yellow both, mean that madness and naivety of the polytheist and absurd and futile effort of the polytheist. These are the two correct answers, basically, red and yellow both. Next question, please. 15 double points. In verse 15, all those in heavens and earth bow down to Lord are referred to. Red, all those in the heaven and earth bow down willingly. Blue, all those in heavens and earth bow down unwillingly. Yellow, all those in heaven and earth bow down willingly or unwillingly. Option 4, or green, all of the above. So the correct answer is all those in heavens and earth bow down willingly or unwillingly. So everything is bow down regardless. So the correct answer is, so next question, please. So according to the different interpretations, what is meant by Surah Hisab in the verse number 18 is subtle and nuanced accountability red, reprimand along with accountability blue, bad punishment green, all above are correct. Subtle and nuanced means it's very accurate, very precise, very delicate. So all above are correct. Yeah. So that's the presentation of Hisab. Next question, please. According to commentary in the verse 20, what's meant by Al-Lazina Yufuna bi-Ahdillah, the covenant between Allah and human being according to human requirements, right? The Sharia covenant between Rasulullah took from the believers, the covenant that one man makes to another man, and all of the above. It's about the promises that we make between Allah and us and Rasulullah. So all of the above. So, would you like to explain this? Okay. So we have to fulfill all these covenants among us between Rasulullah and between Allah. Basically, that's the according to the commentary of this ayat. Yeah. Next question, please. So in the verse 24, why attribute patience is mentioned only. Right? Faith cannot be sustained without patience. Blue, all attributes are equal towards patience. Angels are self-patient. Yellow, red, and blue are correct.
There's a hadith says, patience to Iman is like the head to the body. If there's no head to the body, there's no life in the body. If there's no patience in Iman, there's no Iman actually indeed, right? It tells you actually the answer to this hadith as well, the importance of patience in the entire Iman, not just one or two actions in Amal, how important it is. Because in everything you do, you need that patience in your life. When it comes to Salat, for example, right? It's about patience. Whereas fasting, patience. Control anger, patience. Anything you do is about this.
So red and blue means that faith cannot be sustained without patience. All attributes are equal towards patience. Yeah, this is very important. Next question, please. 19th, points. According to commentary of verse 23, the reason of 8 gates of paradise is large number of people entering paradise, red, men's actions and characters, blue, different classes of heaven's dwellers, yellow, and doors have unique decoration, gray.
Jannah has different doors, but each of them goes to different levels, right? So there's a wisdom and hikmah behind this. You have to pay attention to what is the hikmah of having too many doors, for example, based on what? And also Jahannam has different layers and levels as well. I want to see who put that large number of people.
So the men's action and characters.
Too much of
Yeah, so the correct answer is, so I can see that only 3 have answered correct this question. So maybe, Mara, would you like to explain? Because only 3 have, still made it correct answer here.
So based on the actions and amal of us, each level goes to different, each door goes to different levels. Some of us here are saying. For example, we have the best level of Jannah, which Ahlul Bayt and Rasulullah and Anbiya and Awliya will be there, right? Between the mu'mineen and believers, it's not that all of them go to the same place. We have someone like Amir al-Mu'minin, we have someone like the followers of, very strong followers of Ahlul Bayt, they'll be with them, right? Some of them based on the iman and what their actions they did in this dunya will be in different levels, based on their amal and their actions. Someone had the tawfiq to visit Imam Zaman alayhi salatu wasalam. We talked about this story, Khafash, he asked him, Imam Zaman, we're talking like 50 years ago. Imam were coming to see him. He was a cobbler. And he asked, am I going to be with you? Imam says, no, your level is different than us. He's the one. In our time, Imam was coming to visit him. I mentioned how pious he was. But he asked, am I going to be with you in the Jannah? He said, I don't want the Jannah. I only want the Jannah that I'm going to be with you. He was saying, you are my Jannah. You are my heaven. I will be with you.
The next question, please.
So we have like
Announce the numbers of who are deleting the heads.
Almost to the end. They are competing with each other.
Okay. Next year. 20th question, double points. What is the standard of divine guidance and error in the verse number 27? Guidance can be obtained only by looking at miracles, red. Human stubbornness and arrogance are not obstacle to guidance. Yellow, the sins of men are not the cause of man's failure to guidance. Green, returning to God gives guidance to the man. So the correct answer is returning to God gives guidance to the man. That's the correct answer. Next, please.
So we have first Bahosh and I12, the second, and they are close, like the second and third and fourth, almost like competing with each other. So few points. So if you answer it quickly,
Yeah.
you'll be up there.
So yeah, you can see that three I12 and Amin and Anwar, basically three, I guess, are pretty much chasing each other. So be precise and quick in your answers, and that would make difference. And we're only left with 3 more questions to go now. So go ahead, next question, please. So we have 4 more questions. So what does the verse 33 means by there is no hadi for anyone whom God misleads? Red, no one can do anything before God's power. Blue, misguided are forced by God. Yellow, God's mislead is the result of man's own wrong deeds. Hadi himself can guide the misguided ones. It's a little tricky question, but the answer is right there. So the correct answer is God misleads is the result of the man's own wrong deeds. So yeah. So 3, yeah. So only basically 8 have correct answer. That's wonderful. Next question, please. So Bahosh is Bahosh, I can say. Yeah, next question, please. Yeah. Third last question. In the light of verse 25, the curse of God means the mercy God is cut off from him or her. True or false? Straight question. So the correct answer is true, that mercy of God is cut off and it is cursed. And him or her is cursed, basically. Next question, please. Okay. Next, please. So second last question, double points. In the light of verse 28, which zikr of Allah is most satisfying? Just say with tongue, subhanallah, or alhamdulillah, to avoid committing sins from fear of Allah, although having ability of doing, to remember God in front of people on occasion of happiness, and green straight say prayers before going to bed. So to avoid committing sins from the fear of Allah, although having ability of doing, that is the most satisfying zikr of Allah. And that's a practical zikr of Allah, basically, according to the verse number 28. Next, the last verse, last question now. Next, please. So I can see that Bahosh is still Bahosh, mashallah. She's, I don't know who's, so mashallah, next please.
Last question.
The last question now. Question 24, double points. In the light of verse 2, what is the link between hereafter and mentioning the effects of universe? Red, universe is linked to hereafter, which reflects its true purpose. Blue, the one who can create once can again create basically. Yellow, the one who possesses great power can create the hereafter easily. And red, all of the above. The question is basically why Allah has mentioned all this universe. So what's the relation there? So, oh, mashallah, mashallah, all of the above. That is the correct answer to this question. So, so this is over, this competition here. Mashallah, you all are winners, and all those who are sitting here with me and watching from home, you all are winners in the eyes of Allah. And let's see, from the scoring point of view, who got here first. So, next, please.
Say salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad
wa ali Muhammad. So, B, third. So I have, mashallah, 22 or 24, Bahosh. So, mashallah, mashallah, good. So, if I don't know now, is someone in this hall here?
one person.
Bahosh, who's the Bahosh?
Brother Nadim. He was going very well. He quit. He said, "I'm winning." No, seriously, he was going all correct. And then he had mercy upon others, and he said,
I give up to give someone else.
"Yes, yes." No, he was doing great, mashallah.
I am I-12.
You're I-12?
Yes.
Oh, mashallah, mashallah. So we don't know then Bahosh, who's first, right? We don't know. Yeah. So maybe if you, Bahosh, if you can please don't mind to send email to Brother Tahabdi, at least we know and we at least we recognize you here, inshallah. And who is I-12? I-12 is you, right?
It has nothing to do with that.
Correct, yeah. And who is Amin as well, please? If you can also send a quick note here to Brother Tahabdi, so at least we know.
So
we have the prize, right?
So with the Bahoshes, with the Molo.
Abbas Molo?
Yeah.
So Abbas Molo is Bahosh.
Well,
Bahosh is Abbas Molo. And who's Ami?
Amin Al-Gholi.
Al-Gholi. Al-Gholi. Oh, okay, mashallah. I should say Sallu ala Muhammad wa alayhi wa sallam. So I will give this, to Malana to wrap up.
I think I already covered the hours. No, I just want to congratulate all of them, mashallah. So again, this is just an excuse to study different, alhamdulillah, different sessions that we had, each time different surah. At least to this level, we're more familiar with it. Surah that, name, situation, condition, and if you do more research, inshallah, you'll find, inshallah, more information. It's just an opportunity, I guess, that we will be more attached to Quran, study Quran, and inshallah, specifically for children, be more. If you just review the translation, sometimes the tafsir, few ayat, it doesn't have to be all together. Few ayat of it, and use the same style, make it more interesting at home, make the Kahoot at home, or put a prize for children, for example, all this way, make it more interesting. And the love of Quran and Ahlul Bayt, sometimes about Ahlul Bayt, something, inshallah, will increase the knowledge as well. Jazakumullah khair.
I'm going to start the other one. Sorry, زيارة الغارث Thursday night. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا غارث آدم شفقة الله. السلام عليك يا غارث نوح نبي الله. السلام عليك يا غارث إبراهيم خليل الله. السلام عليك يا غارث موسى كريم الله. السلام عليك يا غارث عيسى روح الله. السلام عليك يا غارث محمد حبيب الله. السلام عليك يا غارث أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام ولي الله. السلام عليك يا ابن محمد المصطفى. السلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء. السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى. السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والبتر الموتور. أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وطاعة الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة لم تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها ولم تلبسك بمدلهمات ثيابها. وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين. وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرضي الزكي الهادي المهدي. وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وأعلام الهدى والقربة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا. وأشهد الله وملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله أني بكم مؤمن وبيانكم موقن بشرائع ديني وخواتيم عملي وقلبي لقلبكم سل وأمري لأمركم متبع. صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم. زيارة وليد الحسن عليه السلام. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن نبي الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا ابن الحسين الشهيد. السلام عليك أيها الشهيد. السلام عليك أيها المظلوم وابن المظلوم. لعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. عليكم السلام. السلام عليكم يا أولياء الله وأحباءه. السلام عليكم يا أصفياء الله وبداءه. السلام عليكم يا أنصار دين الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد الحسن بن علي الزكي الناصح الأمين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله. بأبي أنتم وأمي طيبة وطابت الأرض التي فيها دفنتم وفزتم فوزا عظيما. فيا ليتني كنت معكم فأفوز معكم. زاد أبو العباس عليه السلام. السلام عليكم يا ابن السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك أيها العبد الصالح المطيع لله ولرسوله. أشهد أنك قد جاهدت ونصحت وصبرت حتى أتاك اليقين. لعن الله الظالمين لكم من الأولين والآخرين والحقهم بدرك الجحيم. السلام عليكم يا تسعة المعصومين من ذرية الحسين. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب الزمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان سيدي. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجك.